Welcome back to some new r/malicious compliance stories, where people comply to the letter, but not the spirit of a request. I hope you had a great day. Thanks for all the likes and comments on the last video. And now let's start with the first story. It's called Material Review. Back when I was a junior engineer, I was working with a piping contractor on a gas plant project that was in the final stretch before commissioning. We were under intense pressure to hit deadlines, and everyone was feeling it. One of my responsibilities was reviewing materials before installation. Basic quality control to make sure we weren't about to install something that would cause major problems later. Then the pipes arrived. These were large diameter, high pressure pipes for a critical gas line. But the moment I saw them, I knew something was off. The mill markings didn't match the material certificates, and some of the weld seams looked rough. A closer inspection revealed surface defects and laminations at the bevel, classic signs of poor quality steel from a questionable mill. I flagged it immediately. My lead engineer took one look and agreed. These pipes weren't fit for purpose. We raised it with the project manager, expecting him to do the obvious thing: reject the badge and order replacements from an approved supplier. But this PM wasn't like most project managers. He wasn't an engineer. He had a Bachelor of Commerce, has landed the job thanks to his uncle, a senior executive, and had zero technical knowledge, nor did he care to learn. For him it was just another project to push through quickly to boost his bonus. Rejecting the pipes would cause delays, and delays could impact his bonus, something he wanted to avoid at all costs. So he responded, "The supplier says they meet spec, so they meet spec. Just install them and move on." I pushed back, explaining that if these pipes failed under pressure, we were looking at a major incident. He waved me off. "Just get it done. If it's a problem, the pressure test will catch it." "Alright mate, let's see how that goes." The pipes were installed as is, and we moved on to pressure testing. I stood back and watched. As we ramped up the pressure, the weld seam split wide open, rupturing the pipe. The force of the failure sent a shockwave through the system, even bending some of the pipe supports. The pressure test failed spectacularly. Now, instead of a minor delay to replace the pipes before installation, we had a catastrophic failure that shut down work for weeks. The entire pipeline had to be cut out, re-welded and retested. The supplier was blacklisted, and an internal investigation was launched to find out how these pipes were ever approved in the first place. The client even made us bear the cost of the rework. As expected, the PM tried to shift the blame, but my lead engineer simply pulled up the email chain where we had clearly raised the defect concerns. Management connected the dots quickly. The PM was removed from the project immediately and let go a month later once the investigation results came in. Even his uncle couldn't save him. Never saw him again after that. Last I heard, he decided to pursue a career outside the industry. The next story is called Engineering Compliance. In many companies, the engineering staff communicates directly with the engineers from parts suppliers to define specifications. Once these details are finalized, the list is passed on to the purchasing department or the designated purchasing staff within that engineering division. This process exists because engineers prefer to focus on technical aspects rather than deal with financial terms, such as payment schedules, terms and conditions of sale, quote validity, and the challenge of keeping track of hundreds of different quote PDFs. Additionally, they generally avoid working with the finance department to determine the most beneficial approach for the company's overall financial health. In larger companies, buyers are often assigned to specific vendors or product categories. These buyers follow established internal procedures to ensure that every required product reaches the correct buyer. However, engineers tend to offload procurement responsibilities onto a single buyer whenever possible to reduce their own workload. At one company, a new vice president took over and saw the team of buyers as unnecessary overhead. Viewing them as an area to cut costs, he decided to lay off 8 buyers from an engineering department responsible for entire factory material handling systems. These systems were critical, managing the movement of materials across hundreds of thousands of square feet. from raw material warehouses and storage yards to finished goods sections. With the buyers gone, the responsibility for ordering materials fell to the engineering team. Before proceeding, 3 senior engineers requested that the vice president formally announce this change in a department-wide email, which he did. From that point on, complications quickly arose. Vendors inquired about payment terms, and since the engineers lacked experience in this area, they simply requested the best price available. One vendor agreed to provide a lower price with payment due in 15 days after delivery. However, it turned out that the company typically operated on a 90-day payment cycle with this vendor, as delaying payments to the next financial quarter made more sense for cash flow management. Billing also became a major issue. Since the engineers were placing the orders, they naturally assumed the cost should be billed directly to their department. However, billing was normally handled through the sales department, because it simplified profitability analysis. Whichever sales department secured the contract would typically handle the cost of associated parts as well. Since the engineering department had never been responsible for processing invoices, there was no established workflow to manage or approve payments. By the time the engineers reached the end of the purchasing list, many of the quotes they had received had already expired. This forced them to go back to the vendor sales team, request new quotes, and wait for responses before they could proceed with ordering. During this waiting period, productivity staled, and critical components were delayed. By the end of the financial quarter, the department's finances were in complete disarray. The company was left with an 8-figure financial discrepancy, causing frustration at the highest levels. The chief financial officer, visibly frustrated, demanded answers and sought to understand what had gone wrong. The engineers explained their reasoning. Since the best price was tied to a 15-day payment term, they had selected that option. They also believed that because they were responsible for ordering, their department should handle the billing. They had not realized that these decisions would disrupt financial processes across multiple departments. When the CFO asked who had instructed them to take over their purchasing responsibilities, the engineers presented the email from the vice president. By the end of that day, the vice president left the company and was never seen again. Shortly after, all 8 buyers who had been laid off were rehired. Not only did they return, but each one successfully negotiated a pay increase. The last story is called Work Roster. At a previous workplace, a decision was made to change the Saturday work schedule. Instead of rotating shifts every 4 weeks, employees were now assigned to a specific Saturday of the month, either the first, second, third or fourth Saturday. This approach seemed straightforward at first, but those with experience in scheduling could immediately see the potential issues. Before the new system was implemented, questions were raised about its feasibility. However, the planners assured everyone that this change would make scheduling clearer and eliminate the need for ongoing adjustments. Under the system, an assignment was given for the third Saturday of the month, which initially seemed reasonable. Colleagues in the same group were not included to challenge the new process, so everything proceeded smoothly for the first month. However, complications arose in the second month, when there happened to be 5 Saturdays. Since the team assigned to the first Saturday had already worked once, they were scheduled again on the unexpected 5th Saturday. As a result, the following month started with the second team working on the first Saturday, and by the second Saturday, the expectation was that the third team would be on duty. While most of the team followed the schedule, there was a firm stance taken against this misalignment. The day before, some colleagues mentioned preparations for work the next morning, but it was clear that the third team was not meant to be scheduled on a second Saturday. Despite concerns raised about being listed on the schedule, the decision was made to stick to the original assignment and not show up outside the designated workday. The following morning, at 8:35 AM, a phone call came through at home. Since work started at 9 AM to open doors at 9:30 AM, the call indicated an issue. The phone had been turned off the night before, and the call was answered by a sister, who made it clear that there was no intention of waking anyone up on a scheduled day off. It was understood that the mistake lay in the planning, but instead of acknowledging it, The workplace expected compliance with an incorrect schedule. The response remained firm, emphasizing that if the system assigned a specific Saturday, that was the only Saturday that needed to be worked. After the call ended, the situation was met with laughter, recognizing the absurdity of the scheduling oversight. The following Monday, no one from the planning team, the supervisor or management brought up the absence from the previous Saturday. The same silence continued throughout the week. By the third Saturday, attendance was back on schedule, along with the full team assigned to the fourth Saturday. This resulted in an extra worker that day due to ongoing confusion. Despite the continued mismanagement, monthly reminder emails became necessary to clarify the assigned schedule. The message was repeated consistently, emphasizing the availability on the third Saturday, while reinforcing that the first, second, fourth, and especially the fifth Saturdays were not part of the agreement. This continued for nearly a year, as the issue persisted without resolution. Thanks for watching the video to the end. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like, comment and subscribe. And if you have time, watch another one of my videos. Also, if you want to support me further, check out the channel membership or Patreon. And now, I hope you have a great day. See you soon. Bye bye.